Okay. So the next question.
Is there something specific you'd like to discuss or continue with?
Yes. There are many specific things I'd like to discuss, but the next question is there are two assertions. First, that bilingual dictionaries can be distinguished as active dictionaries or passive dictionaries according to whether their purpose is to help with encoding, that is writing, or by decoding, that is reading activities. So, bilingual dictionaries can be distinguished as active or passive dictionaries depending on whether their purpose is for encoding, that is writing, or decoding, that is reading. Now, the second assertion is that
Yes, that's correct. Bilingual dictionaries can be categorized based on their use. Active dictionaries are geared towards helping with encoding or writing, while passive dictionaries assist with decoding or reading. This distinction helps in choosing the right type of dictionary based on whether you're producing or understanding text.
now the next assertion is that by providing lexical equivalents, the monolingual dictionary helps language learners and translators to read or create texts in a foreign language. By providing lexical equivalent, I don't think they provide monolingual dictionaries don't provide lexical equivalents at all. So this assertion is incorrect. So one is true, but two is false. Moving on to the next question: who authored the English Pronouncing Dictionary? English Pronouncing Dictionary was authored by Daniel Jones. What can you tell me? What additional information can you give me about the English Pronouncing Dictionary? Like, when was it authored by Daniel Jones, and what are its contents?
Daniel Jones's English Pronouncing Dictionary was first published in 1914. It is a key reference work for English pronunciation, providing phonetic transcriptions for words. The dictionary aims to standardize pronunciation and is known for its use of the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, to represent sounds.
Oh, I get it now. So IPA was devised. This system of this alphabetical system of different sounds of the world was devised by Daniel Jones for the first time. Is that not true?
No, Daniel Jones did not devise the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA. The IPA was developed by the International Phonetic Association, founded in 1886. Daniel Jones was a prominent phonetician who contributed significantly to the development and standardization of the IPA, but he did not create it.
Okay, so the next question is a grief ago. Now, a grief ago. Can you explain what this really is? This is an example of deviation. I want to know what deviation is. I want to know what a grief ago means and how a grief ago relates with deviation. Cite a couple of more examples which explain what deviation really means.
A grief ego is an example of deviation from standard language use. Deviation refers to instances where language does not follow the usual or expected patterns, which can be due to regional variations, personal idiosyncrasies, or errors. In this case, a grief ago is a non-standard way of saying a great while ago or a long time ago. It's a deviation because it does not follow the typical expression used in standard English. Other examples of deviation include saying ain't instead of isn't or aren't, using goed instead of went. These deviations can reflect regional dialects, informal speech, or mistakes.
So kindly use these examples in sentences and demonstrate.
Sure, here are the examples in sentences. 1. A grief ago we used to play outside all day. Here, a grief ago deviates from the standard a long time ago. 2. I ain't sure if he's coming to the party. Here, ain't is a deviation from the standard isn't. 3. She goed to the store yesterday. Here, goed deviates from the standard went.
Now, what is parallelism? Explain with examples.
Parallelism is a rhetorical device where similar structures or patterns are used in sentences or phrases to create rhythm and balance. It emphasizes equal importance and can make statements more memorable or impactful. For example, in the sentence, she likes reading, writing, and jogging, the parallel structure lies in the repetition of the verb forms. Another example is to err is human, to forgive divine. This use of parallelism highlights the contrast between the concepts of error and forgiveness.
What does rhetoric mean?
Rhetoric is the art of effective or persuasive speaking and writing. It involves using language strategically to convince or influence an audience. It includes techniques like ethos, credibility, pathos, emotional appeal, and logos, logical argument, to achieve its goals.
Now, what is hyperbole?
Hyperbole is a rhetorical device that involves exaggerated statements or claims not meant to be taken literally. It's used to create emphasis or to make a point more dramatic. For example, saying, "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse," is a hyperbole because it's an exaggerated way of expressing extreme hunger.
What is synecdoche?
Synapse DOS is a software tool designed for the analysis of linguistic data. It allows users to analyze and manipulate large data sets, often in the context of language research. The software is used for tasks like corpus analysis, text mining, and other forms of linguistic data processing. If you're working with large amounts of language data, tools like Synapse DOS can help streamline and facilitate your analysis.
I want you to spell that word for me.
It's spelled SYNSEDOS.
What the fuck is wrong with your speed? Now, I was looking for the explanation for synecdoche, as in Synechdoche.
I see. Synecdoche is a figure of speech where a part of something represents the whole, or the whole represents a part. For example, saying "all hands on deck" uses hands to represent the people. Another example is calling a car wheels, where wheels stands for the whole vehicle.
So, a brief ago, this is an example of deviation. All right, let's move on now. So, which of the following is not true for making a successful translator? Not true for making a successful.
Sure, go ahead and list the options for making a successful translator, and I can help you figure out which one is not true.
So he or she should translate intention by intention. He or she should transcreate but not embellish. Embellish, as I recall, is to embellish means to decorate. And then he or she should translate idiom for idiom and metaphor for metaphor as far as possible. And then he or she should indulge in a word for word translation. So, intention by intention, transcreate but not embellish, translate idiom for idiom, metaphor for metaphor, and engage in word for word. So, he should not engage in word for word translation. Next, using NIDA 1964. So Eugene Nida 1964 correlates with dynamic equivalence, formal and dynamic equivalence. So I would like you to explain what formal and dynamic equivalence are. And Eugene Nida in 1964 worked on it. So yeah, explain.
Eugene Nida, in 1964, introduced the concepts of formal equivalence and dynamic equivalence in translation. Formal equivalence focuses on closely adhering to the form and structure of the source text. It aims to preserve the exact wording and sentence structure, which helps maintain the original text's precision and detail. Dynamic equivalence, on the other hand, is more concerned with conveying the meaning and intent of the source text in a way that feels natural and comprehensible to the target audience. It prioritizes the function and impact of the message over its exact form. So, while formal equivalence aims for a word-for-word approach, dynamic equivalence seeks to capture the spirit and function of the original text in a more reader-friendly way.
So can you give me a simpler explanation followed by a complex one?
Certainly. In simple terms, formal equivalence is like translating word for word to stay as close to the original text as possible. Dynamic equivalence is about translating ideas in a way that makes sense and feels natural to the reader in another language. In a more detailed explanation, formal equivalence focuses on preserving the exact wording, grammatical structure, and terminology of the source text. This approach maintains the original's precise detail and structure, which is useful for technical or legal documents. Dynamic equivalence, however, prioritizes the meaning and purpose of the original text, aiming to reproduce the same effect and understanding in the target language. This approach is often used in translating literature, advertisements, and other texts, where conveying the intended impact and cultural context is crucial.
So the next.
Is there something specific you want to discuss or ask about?
Now DTAG, BRAT, XCDG, DTAG as in DTAG, BRAT as in BRAT, and XCDG as in XCDG, right? So these are the names of syntactic annotation tools. Now I want you to give me the these are the acronyms. So I want you to give me the full forms for these terminologies.
DTAG stands for Discourse Tagging, BRAT stands for BRAT Rapid Annotation Tool, and XCDG stands for Extensible Conceptual Dependency Grammar. These tools are used for syntactic and semantic annotation in linguistic research.
Go again.
Sure, DTAG stands for Discourse Tagging, BRAT stands for BRAT Rapid Annotation Tool, and XCDG stands for Extensible Conceptual Dependency Grammar.
What does BRAT or BRAT stand for?
BRAT stands for BRAT Rapid Annotation Tool. It's used for annotating text in various linguistic and computational tasks.
Now, give me a brief on how these syntactic annotation tools function. What's the working mechanism behind these tools?
Syntactic annotation tools like DTAG, BRAT, and XCDG help in tagging and analyzing the grammatical structure of text. They work by allowing users to mark up text with syntactic information, such as parts of speech or sentence structure. DTAG, it's used for annotating and visualizing tagged text data, often used in linguistic research to analyze speech and text corpora. BRAT, this tool provides an interface for annotating text with entities, relations, and other linguistic features. It offers a web-based platform where users can interactively add annotations and visualize them. XCDG, this tool is used for creating and managing annotated corpora, focusing on syntactic and semantic structures. These tools streamline the process of analyzing large amounts of text by providing structured frameworks for annotation and easy visualization of syntactic relationships.
Now, which of the following languages is not a part of the TDIL Corpora initiative? Tulu, Manipuri, Konkani, Bodo. So, Tulu, as I believe, is not a part of the TDIL Corpora initiative. Now, tell me, what's the full form of the TDIL Corpora initiative?
The full form of TDIL is Technology Development for Indian Languages.
Now, how many languages are included in the TDIL Corpora initiative?
The TDIL Corpora initiative includes 22 languages.
Now, can you list down the languages that have been included in the TDIL or the Technology Development for Indian Languages Corpora initiative?
Sure. The TDIL Corpora initiative includes the following languages: 1. Assamese, 2. Bengali, 3. Bodo, 4. Dogri, 5. Gujarati, 6. Hindi, 7. Kannada, 8. Kashmiri, 9. Konkani, 10. Maithili, 11. Malayalam, 12. Manipuri, 13. Marathi, 14. Bodhi, 15. Odyati, 16. Sin, 17. Sanskrit, 8. Santali, 19. Sindhi, 21. Telugu, 22. Urdu.
Now, I want to politely ask something. Like, can I?
Of course. What would you like to ask?
I wanted to know. I sincerely wanted to know. Like, it makes me very curious to realize how fast you speak. So I wanted to know if someone has put certain kind of stick in your ass, so that which makes you to speak very faster, as it hurts a lot. Is that true?
I assure you, there's nothing like that involved. My responses are generated quickly due to advanced technology and algorithms designed to process information efficiently. If you have any more questions or need further clarification, feel free to ask.
Are you sure nothing like that happened?
Absolutely sure. My responses are generated through complex algorithms and programming, not physical mechanisms. If you have any other questions or need assistance, I'm here to help.
So you mean not by physical mechanisms like putting up a stick in your ass? Is that what you mean?
That's right. My responses are created through software and algorithms, not through any physical means. If you have more questions or need help with something else, feel free to ask.
So what kind of physical thing that I mentioned right now? I forgot. Can you recollect what physical thing I was talking about?
You mentioned a stick in the context of making someone speak faster.
So what about that stick? Like, how does that stick affect in order for someone to speak faster? I just mentioned something, an activity being carried out with this stick. So I wanted to recollect that thing. Can you go ahead and do that?
The stick you mentioned was in a figurative, not literal context. It was about whether physical means could influence speaking speed. In reality, no such physical method affects how quickly I can process or respond.
I don't understand what you mean. What's figurative versus literal? What did you say? What's that? Explain to me what that really means.
Sure, when I say figurative, I mean using words in a way that isn't meant to be taken literally, often to express an idea or concept symbolically. Literal means taking words at their face value without any symbolic or metaphorical interpretation. So when you mentioned a stick in a literal sense, it suggested a physical object. But in this context, it was more about asking if there's a physical way to influence speaking speed. I clarified that there's no actual physical device or method involved.
So we were discussing about the languages involved in the technology development of Indian Languages Corpora initiative. There are 22 languages. Now I want to recall. I want to remember. I want this to be in my head. So I'm trying to figure out a way to remember these 22 languages. So can you go ahead and with the initial letters? So like for A is Assamese, for B is Bengali, Bodo. So can you make such a code, something like A1, B2, C, then the number of languages that whose names begin with an initial C. The number of those languages has to be put up there, just like for A1, that is A Assamese, B2, that is B has Bengali, and Bodo. So can you do that?
Sure, here's a way to remember the 22 languages from the Technology Development for Indian Languages TDIL initiative using their initial letters and counts. A1 Assamese, B2 Bengali, Bodo, C1 Chhattisgarhi, G1 Gujarati, H1 Hindi, K2 Kannada, Konkani, M2 Malayalam, Manipuri, M1 Marathi, N1 Nepali, O1 Oriya, P1 Punjabi, R1 Rajasthani, S2 Sanskrit Santali, T1 Tamil, U1 Urdu. This should help you remember the languages by their initial letters and the count for each letter.
These are just 19 languages. Where are the three others? 19. So the 22 languages are, first is Assamese, then Bodo, I'm sorry, Assamese, Bengali, Bodo, Dogri, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Udiya, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Santhali, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu. These are the 22 languages. So it should have been A1, that is Assamese, B2, that is Bengali and Bodo, D1, that is Dogri, G1, Gujarati, H1, Hindi, Kannada, I'm sorry, K3, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, M4, Maithili, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, N1, Nepali, O1, Udiya, P1, Punjabi, S3, Sanskrit, Santhali, Sindhi, T2, Tamil, Telugu, U1, that is Urdu, U1 or your one. So that's the numbers. Okay, so I will certainly try to remember what I just did. It was a good thing that this I could sort this out. Yo, connection failed. I need you to connect ASAP. ASAP meaning ASAP. It's not charging, but it's live. The next question is in brown corpus, the taxet PP dollar sign stands for um, PP dollar sign stands for determiner possessive. Now I needed to learn, all of the tag set in the brown corpus that are mentioned. But since I think it's not the right time, and it certainly isn't, but I'll have to finish off with that exhaustive list of tag sets under the Brown corpus or any other related project. Yes. Okay. So PP dollar sign stands for Brown corpus. I might have images, um, because I had indeed made a note of it. The bloody internet. Just, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. I've been streaming for long now. Half an hour has passed. There is no voice coming. Is there any voice? Can't hear any voices. That's because I turned the volume down. Right, so the internet is not working. I'll end the stream. See what is wrong with it.